what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, Anthony Riley. We've got Ranty Flat Earth, Mark Doxey, Jose and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon. Right, we're going to kick straight off with a bit of housekeeping. So, any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
What type of curvature?
Earth-based, measured specifically.
Earth curvature.
Earth curve, yeah, that's it. Any signs of that?
Although Slice Barcane does say that he's actually captured curvature from his drone at 700 meters high.
Sly, you haven't.
Fair enough. What about any...
I hear John Hofer say the same.
Say again, Jose?
I heard John Hofer, he takes snapshots of his drone videos and compress it so he can show the curve, he say.
So
they've both done it.
Is it
A tiny little fisheye lens on the drones, that's all it is.
Is it actually something curving, or is it obstruction they claim is curvature?
No, what did you say, left to right? In the horizon line, they take a snapshot of the horizon, and then they take a snapshot, and then they compress the picture. Left to right, they make it, like a strip. So you can see instead of a straight line horizon as a wide picture, you see a tiny picture with a curve, I don't know.
Field of view, my friend, field of view.
It's an edited picture.
Okay, I mean, if somebody joins and presents that, I'm happy to look at it. If curve is curve, as far as I'm concerned. If someone can present curve,
it's a 360 view.
Oh.
It's like with Google Street View, it's the same thing. It's edited.
Fisheye lens, then?
It is very much alike, but it is an editing. It's a purely digital construction.
Fair enough. Any signs of axial rotation, then, in that case? Don't all answer at once?
No evidence whatsoever of axial rotation. Anyone that thinks the stars is evidence of a three-axis rotation, like orbiting the sun as well.
Well, axial rotation of the ether. Just kidding. Well, maybe,
Is that it? Any more for any more? No convincing evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, Ranty? No? Anybody? Anybody at all?
No.
No.
So we're narrowing down the options here, and I'm waiting to see which one it is that someone's produced evidence of.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you might not find out immediately. Any evidence of Earth radius? Any evidence?
No.
What about proof of gravity? Any proof of gravity, gentlemen?
no.
There was this guy one time who watched an apple fall, and he said that's gravity.
There was this curly-haired guy, dark-coloured skin guy, dropped a microphone, thought that was gravity too. Neil disgraced Tyson.
What about the distance to the sun? Has anybody got any evidence of an actual measurement for the distance to the sun?
Nobody knows the actual measure. Nobody has ever measured any of the celestial distances at all, anywhere. They've all assumed it's one thing or another, but no one has measured anything. Why? Because they can't do it. Dan, waiting for him to respond. Nils.
It's the size of my thumb.
It's angular measurements, all of it. That's all they can do.
But it's the size of my thumb.
Size of your thumb in angular resolution terms.
Yes.
Fair enough. I'd agree with that. You can block out the whole sun with your thumb, squashing your head and all that. Okay. Any evidence of gas pressure without the need for a container?
We've missed something really big on that question, Nathan.
I had a graph to present.
Hold on, Arwin. Go ahead, Mark. What have I missed?
What we've all missed, the 4 gas planets that are out in the universe, they're all made of gas, and yet they've not dissipated into the massive vacuum that they exist in.
Well, like the very medium itself, which is the thing I'm trying to debunk with that question, those gaseous quote-unquote planets sit in that medium. So even with that assertion, Mark, no offence, but there's one bit I'm absolutely certain of, and that's the gas pressure we have here. The gas pressure on Neptune? Don't know about that, mate. I've not been. Have you?
No, that's what I'm saying. What we've been told by scientism is that even the sun is supposed to be made all of gas, and yet it still exists next to a vacuum.
Got a little diagram up, Harwin. Do you want to talk us through it? Very complicated stuff.
Just keep on talking. It's just a little support graph for this type of conversation.
You seem to have a barrier in this diagram, Harwin. Is it just me?
Hmm?
You seem to have a barrier.
Barrier?
Yeah, you seem to have this extra ball around the ball Earth, which is never depicted in any picture ever, because it's an open system.
That's a representation of the gases.
That are just next to the vacuum of space, right? Entropy just doesn't exist in this diagram.
Supposedly, in an open system.
So just for the audience's benefit, this is a contravention of the second law of thermodynamics. So if this was true, in essence, the Earth, with its gas pressure, and space, with its vacuum, would falsify the second law of thermodynamics. So, yeah.
To be fair, Arvin, it looks more like a wheel with no tyre on it, but with the gas pressure being contained with no tyre.
Amazing, isn't it?
Mm.
The comparisons are endless. Anybody who uses propane, just go to the guy who gives you your propane and go, look, right, the canister's really expensive. Can you just give me the propane without the canister? Isn't that easy? And they'll go, no, you need a canister. You need a container for that gas pressure.
Same for deodorant. If you go to Argos or Asda or wherever you get deodorant from, ask them for the deodorant, but without the tin. Guess what they're going to give you, Nathan?
Roll-on.
A roll-on, yeah.
Yeah, no gas pressure required. Well, I'm pretty sure that actually concludes the housekeeping.
Well, we haven't had the one that evidence has been presented for.
Oh, right. Well, let's see if anybody spots that. We'll come to that later. What else is occurring in Flat Earth at the moment, gentlemen, besides housekeeping, which we will come back to?
I have an update for us. I had a conversation via Google Hangouts with Mr. Sean the Liar Hufford, and I asked him if he was unsuccessful in finding his unicorn, which for those of you that have been keeping up to date will be aware that Sean is now actively looking for an apparent hangout where I was listening to that was being played back through my microphone at minus 47 decibels, and he's looking for said hangout to prove that GeoStreamer and Soundly were not communicating with each other, and the sound actually came from me through my microphone. I asked him, Sean, if you don't find it, will you admit that they lied? And he twisted what I'd said into saying, why would you be asking me to admit liability at this point? And I'm like, I'm not. I'm asking you to admit liability if you don't find your unicorn conversation that you think that exists. And he wouldn't have it. So I said, right, if you're not going to admit that if you're not going to accept that they lied, if you don't find your unicorn, what is the point in looking? Because this isn't going to go on and on and on. This is going to get dealt with sooner or later, because how long do you need to check? Maybe 10 hangouts. Soundly's not that prolific at doing hangouts, especially prior to Christmas. So, I mean, how many hangouts are there? 10? Maybe 20 max. So he reckons he's been doing one a day for the last 2 weeks or so. If that's true, then he must have done at least 12, 13, 14 hangouts that he's listened to. And so far, nothing. Now, my question to Sean was, if you don't find your unicorn, will you admit that they lied? And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't agree to concede if he didn't find it. He turned it around on me. And I was like, you are unbelievable. So it appears that even if he doesn't find his unicorn, he still won't admit, without any evidence whatsoever that his assertion is untrue, that it was being played through my speakers, so my microphone. He still won't admit that Geo and Soundly were collaborating in the background on a one-to-one hangout. He will not admit that. Even though he's got no evidence to disprove it whatsoever and he can't find the unicorn he's looking for, he still doesn't want to accept that his mates were lying to him, right? Now, is that acceptable behaviour?
I would like to add one thing. I would like to add one thing, which is to say that Sean has claimed to be an audio guy. Audio guy! Right, Sean? Well, how is it possible for something that's well below minus 40 dB to cut the mic on Google Hangouts? Maybe you can explain that to me, audio guy, because as far as I'm concerned, minus 40 or below minus 40 dB, it's not going to cut the mic. Therefore, the line that's open will pick up anything quiet, not the line that's closed. So given that it sounds like a contemporaneous conversation between Soundly and GeoStreamer, and the level of Soundly is below minus 40 dB, I'm going to assert that you're a retard, Sean, and you don't understand how Hangouts work or how sound works. Otherwise you would understand. It won't cut the mic for something extremely quiet while someone's talking, i.e. GeoStreamer, to Soundly, on one line. The line that's open. GeoStreamer's line. So, Sean, you are incompetent. You are a retard. To assert that it's coming through Anthony's mic tells me that you don't know a thing about sound, otherwise you'd understand how the Google Hangout gate works, and you don't.
To be fair though, Nathan, I think you're being far too kind. I think he knows exactly how it works, and he's deliberately put out information there to try and make it look muddy waters, because he knows that they're guilty as sin. I think he knows damn well what's going on. He's trying to play the ignorant card against us in the hope that we don't spot it. Now, the reality is, of course, he needs to find his unicorn. No unicorn, GeoStreamer and Soundly are both guilty. And
guilty. They're guilty anyway. Anybody who's got ears can tell that they were talking to each other. Anybody who's listened to any of these Hangouts where we've explained that you're not going to have the mic cut across to Anthony for a Hangout that he's apparently playing in the background that nobody's found, when it sounds like a conversation between the two of them and the Hangout wouldn't cut across to the other line, i.e. Anthony. So it is a conversation between Soundly and GeoStreamer. Everybody watching knows it. The only people defending it are ball earthers who don't want GeoStreamer and Soundly to lose face. Yeah. Now, GeoStreamer is a retard. There's no other word for it. If he needs help from Soundly and then goes about lying indefinitely about it, then he's just an idiot. If he doesn't know when he's caught, then he's obviously stupid.
Well, it's not so much the fact that he's been caught. That's like, yeah, that is laughable. It's the fact that he was caught and then tried to hide it with Sean and Soundly together, the three of them, as a terrible priest, making this into something that was muddied. And it isn't. It's clear.
You're echoing.
Yeah, I don't know why. Let me mute him.
I think it's because you're on the wrong mic, so just check in the Hangout settings, because I think you're on the wrong mic. It sounds like you're on the webcam mic. Didn't expect that to cause a little intermission, but there we go. Still kicking off. Yeah, you're on. Let's mute Anthony. Mute Anthony's line.
He's on the phone.
Unmuted rather than muting. So, anything else that we need to cover before we maybe launch into the housekeeping that's been debunked?
God.
No way, that was weird.
What's that?
My whole microphone was disconnected. I must have been speaking into the webcam microphone that whole time.
Yeah.
You were. Could tell.
Well, bottom line is, GeoStreamer, we know that you've been caught, rumbled left, right, and centre. We all round, you're caught. Soundly, GeoStreamer were communicating with each other. Not that big of a deal. Sure, who cares? They cheated, right? But then you tried to hide it. That's the bigger problem. That shows the level of deception and lengths that you ballers will go to try and save face, rather than just saying, shit, you caught me. All right, I'm sorry. And then it would have been forgotten about. It wouldn't have even been a deal.
But I encourage the audience to go and test this for themselves. Go to Soundly or GeoStreamer's comment section and ask them why they were talking to each other in the Hangout from December. Just ask them and watch them lie to your face.
Yeah. Now, when we get asked a question that we know that we're wrong about, we've got to admit, accept, concede. But will they do the same thing? Of course not. Will George Netanyahu do the same thing about the rotation of the atmosphere with the Earth, or not? In other words, the Coriolis force that he doesn't understand. No, he won't concede. He has to obfuscate the point because it contradicts their arguments badly. They're all the same. Oh, by the way, Sean also, rather than say, yes, he would concede, he gave me an example of how tedious it is by saying, Nathan has said at some point, da-da-da-da-da-da, go and find it. And I'm like, you're not the best person to cite verbatim things that people have said. You show me that this document or this sound clipping actually exists and let me hear it myself verbatim, because Sean can't cite anybody for nuts. I want to see that this sound file even exists, Sean. Then I'll find it.
So yeah, just so the audience understand what Anthony's just explained. So he's got in touch with Sean, and Sean has said, look, I'm going through all of these Hangouts to try and find what sounds like a contemporaneous conversation between Soundly and Geo while only Geo's line is open. So it's really difficult to find that. Yeah, that'll be because it doesn't exist. But then what he's done is he's challenged Anthony to go and find a section of text that I've said in one of 400 plus Hangouts, as opposed to 20. So given that Anthony's absolutely right and Sean Hufford cannot quote verbatim, it's beyond his capabilities, I would expect him to actually have it written down verbatim and checked with the... if obviously he will know which Hangout it's come from, but you can check with the transcript what has actually been transcribed.
Oh, don't tell him how to do it. Don't tell him how to do it. Let's just hear it. Let's hear the file that actually exists, because he's put it inside speech marks, and I want to know that this document actually exists before we go looking for it, because we can find it. It's not that difficult to find. But let's not tell him how we do it, Nathan.
My bad.
Giving all your secrets away, boys.
Well, he's an audio guy. Surely he's got his own techniques, right? Audio guy. Audio guy that doesn't understand how Google Hangouts works, and when someone's line is open, something that's minus 40 dB won't cut the line, especially when the person's actually talking. Audio guy. Yeah, I'd just like to put it on the record right now, Sean. I consider you to be a retard, based on your claim that you're an audio guy and you don't understand how Hangouts work.
And what's even more disappointing from the baller's side is that it wasn't a baller that debunked our arguments. It was actually another flat earther.
I'm not so sure about that. I think it might actually be Red Rhetoric with a voice changer.
Do you think so?
I think so. Well, I'm not 100% sure about that, but you know, you can make your own judgments when I play the clip that I've been sent.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'm sure there'll be speculation. There always is. Hi, Travis.
I got kicked or something.
Very quiet. Let's turn you up. Did any of you read in the trailer for this show some of the guesses in terms of what was debunked?
No. I haven't seen it.
A couple of people said that they wouldn't be surprised, one of them in those exact words, if it was the vacuum of space next to the gas pressure of Earth that had been debunked. And I was like, really? So you think somebody's falsified the second law of thermodynamics, do you? And that wouldn't surprise you if that law had been falsified? Okay, then. I'd be surprised.
So did you find Bill Miller? Was he a real person, Bill Miller?
No, I'm happy to assert Bill Miller's just made up by George Netanyahu based on the fact that he only used the letters BM in a thread specifically about Brian Mullen, and then later went and injected a load of extra comments several days after leaving that comment to make it seem like he'd spread that message around in many different threads, even though none of the threads, bar one that had been edited by George, actually made any reference to anybody called Bill Miller. But there we go. That aside, you know, I would say, yeah, he's just a made-up person. No, not Bill Miller.
Bob Marley?
That's just another BM that George could have asserted. Yeah, I don't think he was in touch with Bob Marley, no. He might have been. You just never know.
Oh, you've gone blank. Oh, there we go.
I'm just queuing up a video. Hopefully it works. So what do you reckon? Have we kept the audience in suspense long enough? Shall I play this clip?
Yeah, depends how much you're willing to apologise afterwards.
Well, I've got to be honest. I'm actually going to blame Anthony. So this is his assertion. This isn't my part of the housekeeping, right? So this is Anthony's fault. I'm just going to say that in advance.
Yeah,
so
we
I
just
take no
took it on
responsibility.
faith.
Everyone can blame Anthony. He's on the phone currently. I'll wait till he comes back before I play it, because it's at least fair that he addresses this. Because this is one of his assertions, so it's only fair that Anthony gets a chance to address it. He agrees with Red Rhetoric, or whoever it is that's talking.
Well, we took it on faith, let's be honest. We believed Anthony when he said what he said, and, you know, I'm keeping it at arm's length now. It's nothing to do with me.
Well, the thing is, what's been presented is actually a model-based evidence. So, you know, if anybody in the audience has figured out which of the housekeeping was left out today, they'll probably automatically assume, if they figure that out, that it is going to be a model-based proof. That said, it's pretty compelling. So, you know, often there's times that, you know, models do have their uses. Yes, they're pseudoscience. No, they don't prove things. But it's compelling. You know, there's not a great deal else I can say. You there, Anthony?
Yes, I am.
Right, okay.
I just nipped to the toilet. I heard my name being mentioned, but what have I missed?
Well,
after this video's been played, we want you to address it if you can.
Which video's that?
Well, we've had a debunking video, basically, Anthony, and
which is the one that's missing? I haven't noticed which one's missing.
Right, Anthony, shush.
I was just going to say it's one of yours, so I'm getting.
That's all we're going to say. That's all we're going to say.
I'm getting my disclaimers out early, so you know it's not going to be me that addresses this. It's going to be you, because it's your fault.
Hang on, what, are we talking about the missing housekeeping?
Shall I play it? Shall I put the audience out of their misery?
Yeah, let's just play the debunking.
Let's just play it. Yeah. Let's hope it actually works. Oh damn! Unfortunately, you guys aren't going to get to see it now. but the guys in the audience will, but you won't, unfortunately.
All right, so let me open up the thingy then.
Make sure you're on mute.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to pop everyone on mute in the Hangout. So, okay, this is the video that I've received. If you can just tell me in the Hangout if you have actually got audio.
Nathan, it's Jaren. I'm not sure anybody's going to be very happy with this. It's up to you if you want to show the guys or not. I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed, but I was doing some research earlier on this globe here, and if we come around to this side, I drilled a hole here, and if we get real close and go in there, let's see. Yep, it's the molten iron core. Damn it! Unbelievable. Well, one thing off housekeeping. Earth's still flat, but there is a molten iron core.
So there you have it. Molten iron core, proved by model.
Right. So what's quite interesting there, what my first gut reaction is it was quite seamless where the transition was. But how's that any different to a rocket launch?
I think you'll find that's a perfectly acceptable standard of evidence.
Really?
Yes. Absolutely.
I think Jaren's falsified that with a little bit of CGI.
Don't be too. Just because he said the word Jaren, that doesn't mean it's Jaren.
Oh, right. So this could be an imposter.
It could be, you know, voice changer and all that. You just don't know these days. You've got to be very careful.
Well, if that's a real video, I'm gutted because it means that there is a molten iron core after all.
It looks real.
Definitely
okay, let's wrap it up.
Like it was hell. How did we know that that wasn't hell and it was the center of the earth?
Well, regardless of if it's hell, you saw it, man. It was on screen. There's no denying it, Anthony. So you've cocked up right royal. What's your explanation?
I think that it was Jaren's voice on somebody else's video with CGI. And can you play it again? I'd like to see if I can. I'd like to look at this again. Can you play it again and put it on screen, please?
Nathan, it's Jaren. I'm not sure anybody's going to be very happy with this. It's up to you if you want to show the guys or not. I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed, but I was doing some research earlier on this globe here. And if we come around to this side, I drilled a hole here. And if we get real close and go in there, let's see. Yep, it's the molten iron core. Damn it. Unbelievable. Well, one thing off housekeeping. Earth's still flat, but there is a molten iron core.
Yeah, so
that was clearly
yourself
in the middle of the Pacific near Hawaii, and there haven't been any holes dug anywhere near Hawaii, so we know that that's fake.
I saw a hole. You know, you can deny what I saw. I saw it.
Yeah, it's not real, Nathan. It's not real.
It was a hole in the earth.
Well, it's a model-based evidence. What's your problem?
Model. The model works.
Nathan, it's not real.
It was a model. That's a demonstration and depiction of how our world works. What's wrong with a model?
To be fair, it's a really well-made video, that, because I was looking for the transition where the CGI was added afterwards, and I couldn't actually see it. So it makes you think about the rockets, right? When you see the rocket taking off, part of it's real, and then flicks over to the animated bit that's not real. Yet ballers accept that.
Well, hang on. You keep changing subject now. I noticed how you diverged from your massive F-up. Massive, because for months we've been saying that it's undeniable proof of a flat Earth. And now
so what are we going to do then? Are we going to credit Paul Voigt then when he hasn't presented it?
Well, maybe credit whoever made the video.
I think we should credit Paul Voigt in jest.
I bet if you show this to the Rumpus, he could probably explain it to you mathematically.
Yeah. And he could probably tell us that there was a borehole somewhere near Hawaii at some point in history, and therefore it was true.
Well, there you
or
go.
Maybe
there you have it.
Another... Sorry?
Just going to say there you have it. That's the molten iron core knocked off the list.
Oh well.
I wonder whether that should be the channel intro, Nathan.
Yeah,
I know you just had a new one done, but that would be great with the music on it, and because that would be a tip of the cap, wouldn't it? Because to all these liars.
My intro's almost as good as Ranty's. Bastard.
I'm wondering if because these ballers are on protest at the moment, Nathan, because they're all butthurt because you're too keen with that mute button. You know, the power of mute. I reckon I'm going to make a suggestion. In an attempt to invite the ballers back in, I think we should concede 3 tactical losses and just let them win 3 points to let them think that they've got a voice in the conversation again.
No.
Because at the moment, Nathan, they're obviously butthurt, and we can't have victims running around on flat Earth.
No. We don't concede anything, mate.
Well, it depends.
There's nothing to concede.
Well, I'm happy to concede the molten iron core at this point.
Sure, let's give them the molten iron core then. We'll concede that there's a molten iron core on the basis of the evidence that Paul Voigt didn't produce that wasn't real Jaren video. We'll concede it.
Come on.
You said 3. Was there another 2 that you were planning on conceding?
Well, I was just saying maybe we should have some planned defeats that we just concede for the sake of getting these ballers out of victim mode and getting them back on topic with some evidence. Because at the moment, they're all playing the victim card, Nate. It's really bad to think that you'd be the playground bully. That's the way they're talking about you, just because you've learned how to shut them up on the obfuscation. Is that really
Paul?
Point.
Hey, no, it's not really Paul.
Gravity.
Anthony, that's called defeat.
It is called defeat, Arwin, yeah.
Yeah,
But what happens if we never get any ballers in? It means that we can tell everybody our views, like a
circle jerk.
Yeah, we become a circle jerk.
You know why? How can we progress a little bit?
Hey, Jazz. How you doing? Good to have you. You need to mute your watch page, mate. Good to have you, Jazz.
So maybe we can move forward if Piche decide to join the show now, because he's saying this show, Nathan and crew hasn't progressed anywhere. So I would like to hear Pichet to hear some of his progress in his research. Pete,
and I'd second that. I'd like to see Pete Shea join. I've got a bone to pick with you about what was the thing you said about me the other day. I'm the controlled or something like that. I want to know what you're on about, Pete.
Sorry, did you get permission for that, Anthony?
No.
Right, well then, button it.
Hang on a minute. Permission for what?
No, you play
Anthony.
I don't need permission to invite Agent Shea onto the show, Nathan. What are you talking about?
No, he's gonna join. He said he'll join. So take it easy on him, man.
I put my form in last week.
Dangerously close to losing that bonus.
Yeah, I put my form in last week for this, Nathan, and you granted it.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
You said I could call out Agent Pete Shea.
Agent Pete Shea.
Yeah, because we're all agents.
Completely harmless.
Trouble with you, Anthony, is you didn't put your hand up. Wait for permission.
No, but Nathan signed it off last week. It was on his desk for a week.
Yeah, but you know what Nathan's like.
Forgetful. Hello, SX. Good to have you.
Hey, good morning, Nathan. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Agent SX.
Yeah, I don't mind discussing the various aspects of every element of the housekeeping just for Pete Shea. So when we ask for any evidence of curvature, we may not get it that day, but
Do you know what I like about Pete, right? He heckles from the audience, right? And he does it in good faith, I'm sure he does. Maybe not, but it seems that way. And when he joins, he's all smiles and he's dead polite and stuff, and he's never aggressive whatsoever. But then I remind myself of Nick with Noel and why Nick has Noel, and he got bullied by Agent Shea. Then one of the nicest bullies on Flat Earth, and he changed his name because of it. Can't work Agent Shea out me. Is he nice or not?
Yeah, Pete Shea's lovely.
Hey, Nathan, maybe we could add another housekeeping question.
Go on.
Any proof that Aristarchus is the source of all things?
He doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't. He doesn't claim that it's the source of all things. It's all connected.
Yes,
connected.
he does.
It's all connected to Aristarchus. I don't think he actually claims it's the source of all things. Like, because that would make Aristarchus God, wouldn't it?
What we could ask for is proof of the dodo. Because he says that the dodo never existed. So
well, I was just going to say that Aristarchus doesn't seem to have even existed.
You can't prove non-existence.
But what happens if somebody comes up with proof of a dodo?
But dodos don't exist. You can't prove non-existence.
How do you know? I've got a dodo sitting on my knee right now.
Dodos exist. Did you know? Don't you know?
Yeah, I'm cuddling a dodo right now.
But yeah, I got corrected on that. So I said you can't prove a negative, and someone was quick to pull me up and go, well, that's not actually correctly phrased. And then I watched a couple of documentaries last night, and intellectuals far smarter than myself said exactly the same. Hey, Pete. No, P, my bad. I thought it was Pete. So yeah, you can't prove a negative isn't strictly speaking accurate. In fact, far from accurate, actually. But disproving something's existence is impossible.
You can prove a negative or prove non-existence. Like, you could prove there isn't a unicorn in your refrigerator just by opening your refrigerator.
Yeah, but that doesn't prove the non-existence of unicorns.
How would you then prove that unicorns are not in the fridge?
Exactly, so that's very specific to them being in the fridge, P. But I know what you're saying. Yes, there's plenty of weasel room around those words, which is why I've just put my little disclaimer in.
Well, a lot of people say you can't prove a negative, but it's not true.
Yeah, you're right, and I got called on exactly that, P.
It's not true, Anthony.
Evidently speaking, it is, because you can't evidence a negative.
No, Anthony. Oh my God, do research, please.
He's just giving you an example.
Hang on, wait, stop.
Pete, hold on. He's just giving you an example.
How you prove a negative?
He's just giving you an example.
I just did.
Go on, do it again. I missed it.
I can prove that a plug has a negative.
He's got his mouth full.
You can prove like there's not an elephant in your closet. Just open up your closet and look inside it.
Right, but most of the arguments that we're talking about, we don't have the ability to open up the closet, because if we did, then we wouldn't be having the argument.
Yeah, but the argument is you can prove a negative. That's all I'm saying is you can prove a negative. Yeah, there's a false assumption that people think you can't prove a negative, and it's not true.
I don't think
so I'm here to help you understand that you can prove a negative.
How do you prove?
Sorry, I'm going to put an end to this. I'm going to put an end to this. Stop. Hold on before you all get annoyed. He is absolutely correct. It's all in the phraseology. You can't prove a negative. It's a false statement. Sorry, Anthony.
That's my point. You can't prove a negative.
No, that's a false statement. To say you can't prove a negative, and P's giving you 2 examples. You know, if I say that there is, there is no ketchup in my fridge, and then I open the fridge and there's no ketchup, well, negative proven.
Yeah, but the issue when you're trying to prove a negative is not about the substance. It is about the substance.
Well, it's about existence. So
yeah. So whether the ketchup exists or not would normally be the context, not whether it exists in your fridge.
It's specifically disproving non-existence.
Right. So how would you disprove the non-existence of Aristarchus?
Well, you can't. That is logically sound and true. So not being able to disprove non-existence is a true statement, but saying you can't prove a negative is very much a false statement. P's right. Sorry.
Can I bring up a real-world example of this? I think.
P's just gone free, but you go ahead.
Can you prove my lumberjack?
Or not?
No, the same type of example is, has anyone ever heard this saying, make time? You know, someone says, I don't have time, and someone else will say, well, make time.
Yeah, I do. I know that statement. Carry on.
It's the dumbest statement in the history of mankind, because let's say you have to go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning. You wake up at 9:15. It takes you an hour to do your routine, you have breakfast and all that. You've got to be at work at 9. You can't make time. You have to allow time.
So, Jazz, you don't understand how contextualization works.
Oh, say again, Anthony.
I don't think Jazz understands how contextualization works.
No, well, what you just said,
it doesn't mean it literally, Jazz.
Yeah. No. The statement means yeah, the statement means that you should have allowed time.
No, it doesn't. It can mean numerous things. It
like
can
what?
mean prioritize your order of priority work. It can mean get up out of bed earlier, or it can
allowing
mean faster.
Allowing time. So if you get up, if you sleep in and you get up 10 minutes before you have to be at work, you can't make that time to get your routine done.
This is utter garbage, Jazz.
Why?
No, but it's the
I don't see anything wrong with
angle.
what... Hold on,
It's
Anthony.
spending energy. It is...
What's wrong with what is
it's
just
not
stated?
literally time.
I mean, if you made the same example, but you got up at 9 o'clock, I think there might be a bit of confusion because there is a bit of time to spare. But if you're due at work for 9 and you wake up at 9, you can't make time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's the contextualization of the statements rather than the literal interpretation that is the focus.
No, if you get up,
saying.
It's a saying that is the dumbest saying in the history of mankind, because if it takes you an hour to get your routine done before work, to be at work on time, if you sleep in and wake up 10 minutes before you have to be at work, you can't get that routine done in 10 minutes because it takes you an hour. You can't make time. You can allow time, but if you fail to allow time,
critically analyze that sentence. Why is it that you can't critically analyze the evidence for the shape of the Earth?
I was going to ask the same exact question.
Excuse me, guys. I'm gonna drop so Piche can join.
I'm
gonna drop the part.
There, man. You killed it.
Pete can come.
Thanks, Jose.
See you later, Jose. Right. So, Jazz, if you're able to critically analyze the construction and the interpretation of that one sentence, why the hell do you think we live on a spinning ball when it comes to the evidence?
So do you agree with me or you don't agree with me?
No, I think it's the worst example of an application of a contextualized statement in the world ever. But I'll just concede the point for the sake of moving forward. I'll agree that you're right. You can't make time, literally speaking. However, metaphorically speaking, you can. But the point is, you're applying it literally. And on that basis, I agree. But on that same basis, why do you think we live on a sphere?
Well, no, literally and categorically and factually, you cannot make time. So, in the same
that's what I
respect.
said. But metaphorically speaking, you can. So
the making does not indicate production.
If you wake
indicates
up
rearranging
late,
a schedule. It's very specific to.
No, you didn't.
A certain angle.
The point.
That's the saying.
I conceded the point. I said I'll agree to move for the sake of moving on. However, if you're able to critically analyze the construction and the interpretation of that phraseology on that one statement, why do you think we live on a spinning testicle?
And I'll just point out that you didn't do that. What you said was that you can create time, which you can't.
Yeah,
if you
metaphorically
don't have time.
speaking, you can create time. I said that I would concede on the basis of your literal interpretation of the phrase "make time."
No, you can't. If you need to be somewhere at 9 and you wake up at 8:55, you can't make time.
He's agreeing with you. Hey, Pete, how you doing?
You can't make time.
Hold on a sec.
So what I'm saying is now look at this picture that's right on the screen right now.
Sun. Right.
Oh no. We go to the next one or the third one. You can see chemtrails going across the sky.
Sorry, this is you're all over the place. This is a flat Earth debate, and we've got to the point where you've got a concession about time. I assumed that at the end of that there was going to be some related point, and now you're talking about the sun and chemtrails. So why have you got a concession on this point, Jazz?
I can't remember the point that we got to about the point in time. We were talking about points in time, about why
you were trying to prove that you couldn't prove a negative.
Yeah, which you can't.
Right, and on the example you gave, if you apply a very narrow, literal interpretation of the phrase that you used, I agree. You can't, quote, make time. I agree.
But you just said that you can.
You can metaphorically, which is the context in that sentence.
But
if you're going to apply a very narrow, restrictive, and literal interpretation to the words used, then why can't you do that same practice with the shape of the Earth?
Just very quickly, you can only allow time if you can only make time if you have time to allow it.
He's conceded this. He's conceded.
Okay, anyway.
But there must be an ancillary point that goes with it, right? Otherwise, what's the point?
It was about what we were just talking about.
Okay, so now that you've got the concession and you don't have anything further, the point has moved on to, if you can critically analyse a sentence like that, why is it that you would assert that you can have gas pressure without a container? Or why is it that you would assert that you can have gravity without any proof? Or why would it be that you assert that you've got the distance to the sun even though it's based on an assumption? All these things that we point out, Anthony's now asking, why is it that you can critically assess a sentence specific about time that's generally taken metaphorically, but you can't do that with any Earth-based demolition?
I've told you these experiments before, which you can do if you spend a couple $100 to do it.
That's not what I'm asking. That's not what's being asked.
I'm saying you can go up in a small Cessna 172 aeroplane and pump out a bit of water and it will form a sphere in 0G.
So what?
Here on Earth.
So what? So what?
Isn't that the big ball thing? How does water conform to a sphere?
It's not conforming to a sphere, you bozo. Do you know what conforming means? Do you know what the word conforming means?
Forming.
Conforming.
What does it mean to you?
Adapting to.
Hang on. He obviously doesn't know what the meaning of the word is.
You can go up and put a marble on the end of a toothpick and put some water on it, and in 0G in Earth's atmosphere, and the water will form a sphere around it.
0G?
Sorry, do you know what the word conform means or not?
I'm not sure that you do.
I know what the word conform means. I've got the dictionary definition up in front of me so I can humiliate you after a few attempts of you trying to get it without realising that a ball of water isn't conforming because it's not acting in accordance or harmony or complying with anything. It's just a ball of water.
Did you not just hear what I just said? A marble.
Sorry, are you releasing a bottle full of marbles in this Cessna, you absolute retard?
Is the marble spinning, Jazz?
Sorry, Jazz, is your bottle of water full of marbles? I'll take it from your silence that you appreciate what a complete fuckwit you are.
I know flat Earth is hilarious.
Shut up! Don't tell me what you know. You don't even know what the word conform means, you complete retard.
I just told you.
You didn't tell me, Jack. You told me about bloody marbles after giving an example about water becoming spherical in a Cessna. Absolutely sod all to do with your point and concession on time. Just a random point. You're just a bozo.
I literally told you what it was.
I told you what it was. Conforming is conforming to the shape, and that is what you people keep saying.
Conforming to a shape. So it's going to conform to the shape of the marble that you've just introduced to your example. That isn't there.
I have an issue with you saying you people. What does you people mean?
It means he's afraid of his own retarded nature and wants to cast aspersions on everyone in the hangout to distract from his own retardation. That's what it means.
No, hang on, Ranty. I want to hear what you just said. Can you
I say, what does you people mean?
What do you think it means?
Well, you tell me. The way you said it and how you phrased it. What do you mean?
Are you offended? Are you offended by that?
Well, slightly, yes.
I'm noticing that when you ask Jazz a closed question, he responds by asking a closed question.
I would like. So yeah, what do you mean, you people?
Ranty, how many people do you think are in the world?
I would like you to answer the question.
How many? Well,
sounds like you were classifying a specific
Anthony's
group.
just pointed out that when asked a closed question, your response is to ask a closed question, and you've literally, within 5 seconds of him pointing that out, done exactly that.
I'd like to know the population.
Are you going to do it a third time? Are you going to literally ask a question back a third time? So you got a concession out of Anthony, right? When are you going to concede that your Cessna example does not demonstrate water conforming to a sphere?
Well, it does, but I'd
really?
like to know...
Where's the marbles? Are they in the water before you open it?
No, they're in...
So you think if you drop some marbles and a bottle of water whilst in a free fall in a Cessna, that the water will suddenly and magically attach itself to the marbles? Is that what you think?
You pour the water on the marble and it will form a sphere
when did you
around the
mention
marble.
this? I heard bottle of water and Cessna. Why are we now talking about marbles? Is it because we've pointed out that you didn't understand what the word conform means? I think it is.
No, I don't.
Now you're stuttering like a blithering moron. Yes, it's because you didn't understand what the words you were using were, and you are a moron.
Well, in saying that, can I quickly get what Ranty was saying? I'm
going to point out that you're a moron.
No, I want to know.
Ranty wants to know. Can I get to know what Ranty wants to know?
No, I want to know what you meant by that.
You people.
I'd like to know what you meant by that. How many people live on the flat Earth, Ranty?
Hang on, you're obfuscating the point. I asked you a question. What did you mean when you said you people?
Okay, so Ranty, I'm just gonna put this hypothetically. You think 1 million people live on the flat Earth, and 15 people think it's a globe. Is that right?
This guy's a spastic.
He is, yeah.
There's another answer to a question by asking a question.
Apparently, anyone can get a pilot's license.
Oh, you won't.
What do you get out of this, Jazz? Making a point about time, getting a concession, and then moving on to a totally different point that makes no sense because you don't understand the words you're using. Why are you doing this? Are you a sadist?
Don't understand. You don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do. I understand I understand what the word conform means. You don't.
You don't understand what the word conform means.
Yeah, I do.
You don't understand what freaking anything, man.
Now you're swearing. Sure sign of being triggered. Yeah? It's alright, Jazz. I'm trying to establish why it is you want to come on and have us humiliate you regularly. Are you a sadist?
And that's my exact point of the exact example I just made to Ranty. You think you're humiliating me.
Go on camera, Jazz, coward.
It's actually a massive.
If I had a webcam, I will. I'll come back on. I'll make a point. I'll come back on. And I'll talk to Pete personally.
Yeah, well, I'd have a little bit more respect for you then, but you'd still be talking like a spastic, whether it's an actor or not. I mean, you're just coming across like a buffoon. You really are.
But Pete, think about it. You're believing what you've literally been told.
No. You're believing what you've been told.
No.
Okay. Let's stay on. No, hold on. I want to stay on track with this Cessna. Sorry. So you fly Cessnas then, do you?
Years ago.
And when you flew them, you dropped your bottle of water and your marbles in it, did you?
No, because...
So you're just believing what you've been told then was something you've just accused us of, you complete idiot.
I wouldn't go for health and safety reasons anyway. You couldn't do that, could you, in a Cessna at free fall speed?
Let me just say it back to him. So you're just believing what you've been told, Jazz.
I'd like to think that none of you will ever get in an aeroplane ever.
Really? I've travelled all over the world.
No.
Excuse me.
Not with me.
Excuse me.
Not with no one.
Excuse me. I've travelled all over the world in aeroplanes. So I'm going to ask the question again. Jazz, you're just accepting what people have told you because you have not actually done a demonstration of what you described.
Yes, I have.
I just specifically asked you if you had done that test in your Cessna and your answer was no.
What frickin' test?
What frickin' text? By what frickin' text? I assume you mean what test? The one that you detailed to us about 5 minutes ago.
In a Cessna 172 at 120 knots, you're changing your degree to the horizon about 0.25 degrees per hour.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating.
It is, because the Earth's a big old bitch.
That's fascinating. So, just to reassert what Jazz has accused us of, which is going by what people have told us, when in reality the very example he is giving now is an example of something that he has never done and has only taken the word of people.
Have you been to the wall?
What wall?
For fuck's sake.
The difference between us and you, Jazz, not one of us have mentioned a wall. And I'm going to assume you mean the ice wall, but you literally just gave an example about a Cessna. So this is what we call a straw man.
It's not a straw man.
So none of us have brought this argument up. You haven't defended your position about the Cessna test you haven't done in relation to accusing us of taking the word of what men say.
Ask him, does he know what a straw man argument is?
What's a straw man argument?
Exactly what you're doing now, because you guys think there's 9 people here that the whole world thinks that the Earth's flat.
That was in relation to a question you were asked and didn't answer. So that's not anybody's assertion other than yours, Jazz. The question you were asked in relation to that answer you didn't give was, what do you mean by you people? You still haven't answered that question.
I have. I answered that by saying, how many people...
Do you is another question. That's not an answer. That's a question, you complete idiot. Do you know the difference between an answer and a question? Do you know the difference? Shut up. Do you know the difference between an answer and a question?
I do, Nathan. So
excellent. You have not answered Ranty's question.
I did this before. So, on the flat Earth...
No. What do you mean by you people? That's the question on the table, Jazz.
That's what I mean. You people, on the flat Earth, the Earth's flat, I'm a troll, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, that much is absolutely without question. You're not a troll, you're thick. You think you can get away with calling yourself a troll when you're being humiliated, but the reality, Jazz, is far more severe. You're just stupid.
How many people live on the flat Earth?
Don't associate yourself with trolls, because trolling takes some degree of skill. Tim Osman, as much as I hate to admit it, has to have a certain degree of intelligence to be able to troll. Don't bundle yourself with people like him, because you're not him. You are just thick. Not a troll, thick.
Okay. So how many people live on the flat Earth that I'm trolling? How
Nobody as asked that question or cares. The question in hand is in regards to an assertion you made about you people.
Nathan, Ranty asked that question by saying you people.
No, you said you people, and I asked you what you meant by that.
He literally doesn't know what he said. He thinks we've said the words coming out of his mouth. That's how stupid you are.
Can we, you know, get another guest in?
Yeah, kick him.
I'm not asking you to kick him. He's not
either drunk or
particularly
stupid.
badly.
Or he's sober.
I don't know why you got offended by the sentence, you people. He just meant flat earthers.
Can you repeat that? Because Travis joined and he cut the mic off.
I said I don't know why he got offended. He just meant when he said you people, he meant flat earthers.
Right.
Yeah, that was obvious, but why wouldn't he just say that? Weird.
Well, we use the same terms, right? You globe earthers, you people. I mean, it's
No. The you people was much more of a derogatory way of talking to us.
In which way? I don't see the derogatory.
Well, you obviously don't know in the English language, then, do you?
I do understand what you're saying. I'm just asking you to explain why it's derogatory.
Okay, are you black? Sorry, who's speaking right now? Are you black?
SX.
Are you black?
No.
Anybody on the panel black? No.
Okay,
no, we'll get there. Anybody
black?
Anybody Hispanic?
I am.
Excellent.
I am.
So, excellent. Perfect. So if I was to talk to you specifically about your culture and say you people, would you find that offensive?
And are we talking here? Are we talking about his culture or flat Earth?
I'm talking about you people.
No. Hold on.
No. I'm talking specifically about you people. Do you know what I'm talking about? You people.
Okay.
Yeah, he could have meant like the British or something.
We know how he meant it.
I know how he meant it. If you're imagining things in your head, that's your problem.
Well, it's to do with how it's said, not what's said, right?
How it's said, exactly.
It's to do what?
It's how it's said, not what's being said.
In context, the volume.
Well, you got to take it in context, Nathan.
That's why I did. I took it in context. I knew exactly what he was saying.
Well, the context of the conversation was flat Earth. Not your culture or where you are from or any of that stuff. It was flat Earth stuff.
Yeah.
No, the context was he was getting his ass handed to him, and he responded by saying "you people."
The other problem is that Jazz has a habit of making strawman arguments based on what you people think. For example, ice walls. Nobody on the panel has asserted anything about ice walls. It's not been brought up by anybody other than Jazz, and the reason is because you people believe in an ice wall, as far as Jazz is concerned.
I still don't see the problem.
Well, I don't believe in that. I've not been shown evidence of that. I've been shown pictures of what looks like an ice wall, but do I know that that's something that surrounds the entire flat plane with an AE map in the middle? No, but plenty of people who are called flat earthers believe that. Now, I go by evidence. What can you actually prove to me? What can you demonstrate with evidence? Whereas if he says, well, you guys in the ice wall, no, what are you talking about? I'm not making assertions about any ice wall. He is making assertions about opening a bottle of water in a Cessna, and then suddenly we've got marbles when he doesn't understand what the word conform means. But after he's had his ass handed to him, as Ranty says, he then starts putting aspersions on you people after associating us with shite, straw men.
Well, he was trying to ask how many flat earthers were in the earth.
No, I don't think he was.
No, that was his...
He's trying to derogate.
Yeah, that was after the fact.
He was trying to what?
That was after the fact.
That's a
that
new
was
word.
after the fact.
Sorry, I heard a new word. What's derogate? That's a new word on me.
Yeah, I was trying to put the word derogatory into a different context, and I think I messed it up.
Thought there's a new word. I always like new words. It was derogatory.
I'm going to look up the word derogate and see whether or not I can squirm it in.
See if it's in Google. Hang around out for a break shortly, so I
don't know.
Yeah, it was maybe derogatory.
In your example, Nathan, I will not take it wrong if you say you people when you're referring to my culture. If it's the truth, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't really argue against that. I've used something specific to you and a group of people, and you've said, I'm okay with that. So I can't really argue against you. That's where I'm screwed.
You people should be more offended by the term you people.
Derogate does fit in, Nathan.
Oh, is it a real word?
Yeah, derogate, it means to detract from, and in this context it says, this does not derogate from his duty to act honestly and faithfully. So detract from, in other words, he was detracting from what he was saying because his point was added to by saying you people, and he was just like contrasting against the point that he was saying by using you people as a derogatory.
You put one out of your ass, didn't you?
Yeah, I fluked that one.
That's not fluke.
I was meant to say derogate, but fit it in with the other word, the similar word, and it didn't quite go quite that. But
you plucked it out of your ass.
I got away with it.
Oh, I wouldn't call that getting away with anything. I would call that a good knowledge of English.
Do you mean denigrate?
I was meaning to use the word derogatory in a different context, but derogate, derogatory, similar.
Fair enough. Right, we're going to have a 10-minute break. So with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel, even Jazzaconda, for joining and making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then you know exactly what to do. But if you liked the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!